Hey, English learners. Kimberly here, and welcome to day 30 of the Learn to Speak English Without Fear 33-Day Challenge. In this video, we're working on a cornerstone of real fluency, expressing your opinions and disagreeing politely in English. Not arguing, not being aggressive, but speaking up with clarity, confidence, and respect. Because understanding English is one thing, but being heard in English is another level entirely. Over the last few videos, you've learned how to ask for clarification without fear, navigate restaurants, ask for help in public places, connect socially. And now comes the next step. What happens when you understand and you disagree? Or when you have an idea worth sharing? Many English learners stay silent not because they lack ideas, but because they don't know how to say them appropriately. Today, that changes. Let's talk about something very real. You're in a meeting, you're part of a discussion, a group conversation. Someone shares an idea and you think, I see it differently, or I have a better suggestion, or that doesn't sound right. But then fear shows up. What if I sound rude? What if my English isn't perfect? What if I offend someone? So you stay quiet. This is the silent expert trap, and it costs you. It costs you visibility. It costs you confidence. It costs you influence. Your ideas stay trapped inside, even though they matter. Now, here's an important mindset shift. In English speaking cultures, having an opinion is normal. Disagreeing politely is often seen as professional and intelligent. The problem is not what you think, it's how you say it. And that's what we're learning today. Think of this as becoming a diplomatic dialogue designer. Now, your goal is to sound confident, sound respectful, sound collaborative, and not confrontational. And we do that with language design. Now, step one, we want to begin with what we call an opinion opener. Before sharing an opinion, signal it. This prepares the listener and softens your entry. Neutral and professional. You would say, I think that, or I believe that, if you wanted to be balanced and thoughtful. In my opinion, or from my perspective, if you want to be soft and collaborative, you could say something like, I tend to think that, or it seems to me that, or perhaps it's that. Suggestive, you would say, well, perhaps we could consider, or what if we, or maybe if we. For example, instead of just jumping in, you would say, well, from my perspective, focusing on digital marketing could be very effective. This sounds calm, intentional, professional. Step two, we want to learn elegant disagreement, avoiding a conflict. Disagreement in English usually follows this pattern: acknowledge, pivot, and share. Polite disagreement phrases are like this: I see your point, but, or I understand what you're saying. However, that's an interesting perspective. My take is slightly different. Or I'm not sure if I completely agree because, for an example, you might want to say, I understand your enthusiasm. However, I think we may need more data before deciding. You're not attacking, you are contributing. Now, step three. Sometimes you have an idea that's strong, but the language doesn't need to be. And this is where hedging comes in. Softening words are words like perhaps, possibly, generally, usually, and softening verbs are, well, it seems, or it appears, or I'd say. or I'd argue. Now, if you want modal verbs, you might want to use might, could, may. And an example is like, you wouldn't say, this is a bad idea, but you might say, this might be a challenging approach. Same message, more diplomacy. So let's apply this in real life scenarios. So at work, when you're disagreeing on a deadline, for example, you might say, I see your point, but I'd argue that extending the deadline might improve quality. If you're having a social conversation when you have a different point of view, you might try, well, that's interesting, but I tend to see it a bit differently. If you're in a group discussion, when someone wants to go in a different direction, you might want to try, perhaps we could consider another option. This is fluent English. Now, an important reminder is you do not need perfect grammar, advanced vocabulary. What you do need is structure, intention, and respectful phrasing. That's what builds confidence. Now, your challenge after watching this video is first, introduce 3 opinions using different openers. Number 2, I want you to practice disagreeing politely with 2 statements. And I want you to soften 3 strong sentences using hedging. Do it out loud, not silently. Remember, your ideas are valid. Your perspective is valuable. English is not just about understanding others. It's about being understood in English. When you speak with clarity and respect, people listen. You are building an English voice that is confident, that's articulate, and respected. And that's real fluency. So we'll see you tomorrow for our next challenge. Good night and God bless.